Welcome back to Jeff with 1F. 1F because I give an F. All this material is original, ergo this broadcast makes it published and copyrighted, so get your cotton picking fingers off. Thank you very much. This whole funny thing about doing stand-up comedy, it's relatively new. Back to the early 50s, a guy named Mort Saul with this club in San Francisco called the Hungry Eye was invited by its owner to express himself. Get up on stage and express yourself. He thought he was an interesting fellow. And the rest is history. That inspired people like Lenny Bruce, Woody Allen, etc., etc., etc. One more time, etc. But I mean, stand-up comedy prior to that did exist, or comedians existed, but in a very broad farcical sense. Be part of burlesque, or they would just go on as the low man on the totem pole. The lowest you could get in entertainment was to go up and tell jokes, because you couldn't sing, you couldn't dance, anybody could tell a joke. So they figured this is like the lowest common denominator of show business. This is as low as it goes. And while they're up there, doing their thing, telling their jokes, the real entertainers would be putting their makeup on and changing wardrobe or whatever. So the whole thing was just, to kill time. And when they were ready, they yelled out to the comic, "Okay, they're ready, get off," and they'd go on. So now comedians have their own clubs. They're honored. They're revered. So now maybe there's somebody like below them that can come on, because comedians open for musical acts sometimes. So like, who would open for a comedian? What lower echelon of show business exists that would open for a comedian? You can't have another comedian open for a comedian. It doesn't make any sense. Although in music, you do get like the local band will play before the big touring band goes on. But it doesn't seem to happen really in comedy. Unless you go to a comedy club where there's just one after another. It's open mic night, and that's what you expect. But in a regular general show business sense, you would expect just the comedian, and so a comedian couldn't open for a comedian. So we need like a lower level. What's below comedian? What other things are there that we can consider? How about sword swallowing? I don't know. Have you ever seen a sword swallower? It's like a circus thing. They go like this. They straighten out their mouth with their esophagus, and they actually have a sword go down their esophagus, and then they pull it out and take a bow. I guess they got to be very careful not to bow before that. And so maybe sword swallowers could become a thing, and they'll eventually become so big that somebody's gonna have to open for them. So like, what's below sword swallowing? Mimes and ventriloquists are kind of up there with comedians, however strongly you might feel about them. So there's got to be somebody below sword swallowing. Maybe hand, or what are they, shadow puppets, just something to consider. I don't know if there's anything below that. Magicians are not below that. Magicians are featured stars. So anyway, comedy is so respected now, and it's an incredible amount of pressure on the comedian, because, as I said in my opening here, like, it's all copyrighted, it's all original. But I mean, while I'm thinking up a joke or thinking up a topic to ramble on, somebody else across the country at the exact same moment is thinking the same thing. Human mind not only thinks about so many things. So for all I know, there's somebody out there also named Jeff, I can't say he's stealing my act, he's just doing the exact same thing. The odds are remote that he would play the banjo too. So anyway, do you ever look stuff up on Google? I mean, just out of curiosity, you wonder like, where did that come from? Who invented that? Who was the first people to do that? Gee, I'm curious. So I'm always looking stuff up, like everybody else. You Google, you put it in, dental floss. Where did dental floss come from? And then you read, the ancient Greeks used to drag raw linen between their teeth to clean them. And so, great, the ancient Greeks invented dental floss. And you want to know, like, who's the first people to sell beer? And then you find out the ancient Romans sold beer at the Colosseum, in 350 BC, or whatever. So it got to the point I got sick of looking stuff up. Everything I would look up was either invented by the ancient Romans or the ancient Greeks. I finally got to the point where, like, I wonder where something comes from. I'll flip a coin. Heads, it's Romans. Tails, it's Greeks. But those are the ancient Romans and the ancient Greeks. And they did a lot, So what do the new or the modern contemporary Romans and Greeks think? They must feel like, kind of like, they hang their head because, the ancient Greeks gave us, math and theater and the start of the medical sciences, and now baklava, that's about it, They also feel a little like off their game, The Romans, they gave us roads, organized education, public waterworks. It's the best, public waterworks, And now trendy purses, They must like just stand there at night and cry. We once conquered the known world. Now we're making fashion accessories. The Greeks bemoaning the same thing. We had Plato and Socrates and Aristotle, and now we got feta cheese, and it just ain't the same, Wow, No wonder they don't try at the Olympics. I mean, it's like, what's the point, All right, so this has been Jeff with one F, and it's been real. Adios.